Blessings, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dane, your host. I hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves. And welcome to another episode in my little mini-series where I count down backwards from 20 to number 1, my favorite album runs of all time. Today is episode 5, album run number 16. And today is an artist, not a band. And this is an artist who has a wonderful discography. And of the huge discography, there are only 4 albums I'm not very fond of. And of course, I'm talking about David Bowie. The 4 albums in question that I do not like very much are Tonight, Never Let Me Down, Black Tie, White Noise, and The Buddha of Suburbia. Of those 4, I like 4 tracks on The Buddha of Suburbia and 2 or 3 tracks on Tonight, and the other 2, there's almost nothing for me to like, maybe 1 or 2 songs, and that's it. And these 4 albums come right after that wonderful run of the second David Bowie album, which is renamed Space Oddity, through and including Let's Dance. So today's album run is Bowie's second album run in his discography, which is beginning with The Outside. Just a wonderful resurgence in his career after a few missteps. And so this album I have a bit to say about. I love this album. Us Bowie fans, can't speak for all of them, but many of us were very pleased to hear that Brian Eno was back in the fold. And originally this was supposed to be the beginning of another trilogy with Eno. You know, the Berlin trilogy comes to mind. It never panned out. This is a one and done, coming from the Leon Sessions, a concept album. But us Bowie fans, when we hear, again, can't speak for everyone, when we hear Tony Visconti and Brian Eno, our ears perk up like a meerkat, right? Because we love what they do. And some of the guitar players as well, we perk up like Robert Fripp, Adrian Belew, Gabriel Reeves, if I'm pronouncing his name right, is involved in some of this run. So The Outside, once again, concept album. And you have some characters that Bowie steps into, which I will talk about that, I think, today. I don't know if I have them written down. Yes, you have Leon, you have the detective, you have the Minotaur / the artist, and there's some others there. So stepping into roles that he's playing in such a wealth of things going on in this album. So genre-wise, what isn't here is more the case than anything. So you have some this is an avant-garde piece in general terms. It is a work of art, not just musically, because of the lyrics are extremely special. I think what Bowie is trying to achieve by having his own artwork on the cover. He's doing a lot of art that is outside of music while this is going on, so that seeps into the album. As I said, is a concept piece, and there's some spoken word pieces in between songs, or segues as we call them, to introduce the major tracks or to set up the major tracks that compose the bulk of the art here. Now, as I said, genres abound with this album. There is, because of Eno's influence, you have the ambient stuff, right, that we know can be done when Eno is going to be in the room. There's electronica, which foreshadows the next album, Earthling. So there's that 9 Inch Nails electronica dance, industrial, some heavy stuff at times here. Again, foreshadowing that album to come. You have elements of trip hop, you have the elements of hip hop, you have the elements of post rock, elements of soundscapes, which harkens back to the Low album, elements of techno, elements of grunge, elements of funk, and elements of pop. Of course, there's always going to be elements of punk, or usually elements of pop, and of course there's going to be elements of rock, traditional rock. There's also some jazz touches here, which is a nice touch. You have acid jazz, and you also have avant-garde jazz here, and some free jazz. And of course, if Patrick Bateman in American Psycho was a Bowie fan, he would probably not like this album because it's quote-unquote too artsy, right? So anyway, some standout tracks that I really love here. I like the album from start to finish, but the standout tracks here are The Heart's a Filthy Lesson. That's, of course, a cliche choice, but it's an acid jazz song, among other things. Strangers When We Meet is pop. I love the song. In addition, I brought up another prop. This is a biography worth reading, David Bowie, A Life by Dylan Jones. And in this book, I brought it out to show you that this album is yet another example where Bowie uses the cut-up technique, which is mentioned some places in here, which, William Burroughs, the author of Naked Lunch and other things, used. So Bowie being influenced by that postmodern era of writing to do the cut-up technique to come up with his lyrics for this album. Now, this isn't my theory or idea. It's a fact, and other critics have pointed it out. And I don't refer to myself as a critic. So sorry about that. I didn't mean to say that. What I was trying to say is that other people who talk about music who happen to be critics, they have pointed out that this album is very much a culmination of Bowie's entire discography, because it harkens back to so many different albums in his discography, and in much of his discography, no one album sounds like the previous or the next that follows, for the most part. So, despite the fact that this album seems to be a culmination in many ways of previous records, think Scary Monsters, think Low, you name it. There's something in here for everybody. Yet, despite the fact that it's a culmination of all that, it sounds so fresh and inviting. There's something here for everyone, as I said, if you're a Bowie fan. Other songs that I like, I'm Deranged. Through These Architects' Eyes, I think is fabulous. No Control. The Voyage of Utter Destruction is an avant-garde jazz piece. And Hello Space Boy, which is a rocker. So those are the biggest tracks that I gravitate to when I listen to this, but I do love the whole thing. Most of the time I will listen to this start to finish. What's also cool is We Prick You, which when David toured live with Trent Reznor, or the other way around, they played this, and I have a live album called that with both Bowie and Trent Reznor playing together on tour. It's really cool. I'll show you that one day. So next we have Earthling and Trent Reznor style album, Nine Inch Nails style album. You have electronica, you have dance, you have some heavy stuff, you have synthesizer, you have samples, you have loops, you have programming, you have keyboards, you have piano, and you have Reeves Gabrels. That's the name I was looking for on here, who I think is a marvel. Probably another guitar player noteworthy in Bowie's discography in different places is Alomar, Carlos Alomar, I believe is the name. Wonderful guitar player. Songs of note on this album: the hit I'm Afraid of Americans, of course. Dead Man Walking, another hit. Telling Lies is really good. Law, which is in parentheses Earthlings on Fire, and Little Wonder. I love this whole album. Little Wonder starts the album off. Looking for Satellites, I think, is quite good as well. 7 Years into Bed is a good song, but I don't think it's a great song. But overall, I would consider this album very good. So I do like this album quite a bit. Next is, Hours. This is a solid record. When I first heard this, I thought it was but the older I get, the more and more I really like this. You have the wonderful Thursday's Child, Something in the Air, Survive. I like those three songs back to back to back. They're wonderful. If I'm Dreaming, My Life is quite good. 7, not as good as the first 4 tunes, but I like it. What's Really Happening, nice song. The Pretty Things Are Going to Hell, great tune here. New Angels of Promise, wonderful tune. And then Brilliant Adventure is an okay song. It's a good song, not great. And then The Dreamers, I'm quite fond of as well. A lot of times people say this is a solid record, and some people find that offensive or kind of condescending. But when I say a record is a solid record, I'm not being any of that. I like it. It's when when we say it's a solid record, it's good, but it's not great, is what we mean. But for me, I'd rather say it's very good. When I first got this, I really wasn't in love with it, and then after a few listens, like, yeah, it's a solid record, but not mean condescending. And then now I think it's quite good. It's a very good album. So that's what I was trying to say. A little tongue tied there. So Hours, Bowie doing a little bit of the piano there from that statue. Now this next one is even more wow for me. Slow Burn is my favorite song on here. It begins with Cactus and then Slip Away, and then Slow Burn is the third song. When I first heard, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, so I can't show you, but when I first heard Slow Burn, I was smitten, for lack of a better word, with the song, because it's a slow song vocally, and I've never heard Bowie sound so good, and that's saying something. He's always got a wonderful voice, or most of the time, or 99.9% of the time, he always has a great, compelling voice. It is above and beyond moving and compelling here. Just the emphasis on certain words and phrases. It's such an emotional song. It's just super compelling. It never gets old for me. Sometimes I have to skip the first two songs to play this one. Sometimes I'll just put this on to listen to that. I can't talk enough about how much I love the song Slow Burn. It is just phenomenal. It is one of his best songs of all time. Next you get Afraid, which is quite good. I've Been Waiting for You, I love very much. I Would Be Your Slave, I love this song as well. I Took a Trip on a Gemini is a good song, not a great song. I Took a Trip on a Gemini, Spaceship is the song. The Angels Have Gone. I really like this song. It's just super compelling, and not as compelling as Slow Burn, but it's still quite compelling. Everyone Says Hi, I Could Do Without, and A Better Future is okay. And then you get Heathen the Rays, which is kind of like a title track, which I think is quite good. My favorite song, as I said, is Slow Burn. Then I would say Slip Away, then Afraid, I've Been Waiting for You, and then the title track, and then The Angels Have Gone. Not necessarily in that order, with the exception of Slow Burn being my favorite. So, man, I fell in love with this album right off the get-go. What a great album. Really a return to form for Bowie. And, what we have expectation-wise, which is not the right thing to say necessarily. Well, it is, because we have expectations. We want a really stellar album from Bowie, and I think this is just short of a masterpiece. And so Bowie already defies expectations because he's a chameleon, not my words, and each album's going to be different, and yet it meets our expectations in the sense that it's just a great album. Okay, next is Reality. This is a wonderful album too. New Killer Star right off the bat, wonderful song. Then you get the amazing Pablo Picasso, which is my second favorite song on the album. I love the next song, Never Get Old. The Loneliest Guy is quite good. Looking for Water, okay song, not great. She'll Drive, okay song. She'll Drive the Big Car, okay song. Days, I really like. Fall Dog Bombs, quirky, but a great song. Fall Dog Bombs the Moon, because it's the way the writing here is. Love this song. Try Some, Buy Some, pretty cool song. The title track I really like, and then my favorite song on here is Bring Me the Disco King. I have the live version where the reality tour live that he plays that song in here. It's fabulous. The live version for me is definitive. This is a stellar album, like Heathen, short of a masterpiece if you ask me. I know a lot of people don't feel the way. These, in this run that I'm showing you today, these are my two favorite in this run. So, and then this would be a close to those two. Used to be this one, but when these came out, I was just blown away. So next you have The Next Day. I hate the album cover because he just put something over Heroes, but this is an art rock pop album. Tony Visconti. You have Earl Slick. There's another amazing guitarist that he works with. This has elements of glam, pop, art rock, funk, especially the glam and funk of early releases in a way. Not over the top though, but it's there. I would also suggest that you get the bonus version with extra tracks. It's worth it. But if we stick to this, the title track is really good. I like Dirty Boys. The Stars Are All Out Tonight. Really good song. Love Is Lost is wonderful. Where Are We Now? Wonderful. Valentine's Day is okay. If You Can See Me is a very good song. I'd Rather Be High is okay. Boss of Me is okay. Dancing Out in Space is a good song, not a great song. How Does the Grass Grow? I really love the song. You Will Set the World on Fire. Wonderful tune. You Feel So Lonely You Could Die is fabulous. And then Heat is an okay song. Bonus tracks. So She, a very good song. Plan is okay. And I'll Take You There is okay. How would I rate this? I would give this a very good. But get the bonus version, and then it would go up to a great. Extra songs that are the bonus tracks on there make it even more of a good, of a good album. And then finally, we get his last album before he passed away, Black Star. I think this album is phenomenal. I liked it right off the bat. 'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore. I'm not sure if he's getting that title from the Renaissance play from the 1600s. Perhaps I read that play. It's a good play. Lazarus, and of course, when Bowie's doing this album, he's aware that he's not going to make it, and hence the name of the album as well. Sue, and then in parentheses, or in a Season of Crime. Then Girl Loves Me. Dollar Days is next. I Can't Give Everything Away. This is a short album, but I'm sorry, the first song is Black Star. I totally missed that because it just says a black star. That's almost 10 minutes long, so it's not as short as I. Sorry about that. So yeah, the title track is my favorite here. Lazarus would be my second. Sue is my third favorite. I Can't Give Everything Away is my next favorite song. So those 4 songs are my favorite, but I like the whole album. Probably I would say Girl Loves is my least favorite, and 'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore is my second least favorite. But overall, this is a wonderful album. I would call this album just short of great. There are days where I say it's great. Just short of great. It's wonderful though, if that makes sense. It's hard to put into words. And there's also a companion EP which has Lazarus on it, No Plan, Killing a Little Time is a song not on here, and When I Met You, which is not on here either. So this is worth having. It kind of, you listen to these two back to back, it makes it a richer experience. So there you have it, folks. This is my 16th favorite run of all time. David Bowie, his second glorious run, because he has that wonderful first run. All right, thank you so much for watching. Take care. God bless. Bye.